Hello, welcome to Horror Dark Fantasy Friday. I'm Charlotte Leisman, and today we are talking about the 1981 book by Thomas Harris. That would be Red Dragon. This book has recently become a more popular piece of entertainment through the TV show Hannibal. We're going to talk a little bit about that. However, we're going to avoid any plot spoilers here, so if you have not gotten caught up with that yet, or you haven't heard of it and you would like to, feel free to stay with us because we will not be giving anything away. If you're like me, you watched perhaps Silence of the Lambs many years ago, or you heard of it and you know something of this very ferocious fictional character, Hannibal Lecter, who was perhaps the most fearsome fictional serial killer of all times. So this book is actually the precursor to Silence of the Lambs. So this book is more like the TV show Hannibal. It features Will Graham after he has taken down Hannibal Lecter. He had gone into retirement, and what happens is that the FBI encounters a particularly difficult case. They come and they ask Will to come out of retirement and to help them with this case. But the problem is Will knows that in order to help them, he will have to consult with his nemesis, Hannibal Lecter, and of course you can see the conflict there. So this case is very interesting. It features two separate murders, one in Birmingham, Alabama, and another in Atlanta, Georgia. The two families that were murdered, because it was an entire family murdered in both cases, other than being traditional nuclear type families, they share nothing in common. So of course this is going to be more difficult. However, that is where Will comes in. So our protagonist, Will Graham, is the type of character who has a very strange sort of insight. So he is able to go into the scene of a crime and he's able to visualize it to such an extent that he almost can see everything that transpired there as if he had actually witnessed the crime itself. Of course, the TV show Hannibal plays off that more so than the book does. However, the book does allude to it, and that is where the TV show got it from. The problem is that in the case of one of these murders, the family was killed long enough before the FBI thought of bringing Will Graham in that the house has already been cleaned and is listed for sale. So that's going to be a barrier for Will Graham. So of course Will Graham's going to have to consult with Hannibal Lecter, a man who, if you don't know anything about him, was actually a brilliant psychiatrist. So he is a very, very educated man, very intelligent, and he is also very, very refined. Part of the reason Hannibal is so horrifying, in my opinion, is because he is so incredibly competent and he seems so well adjusted in society that he's exactly the type of person we would not think would commit these types of horrific serial crimes. So Will Graham is going to have to consult with Hannibal because Hannibal, of course, has a psychopathic, or what we used to refer to as a psychopathic mindset, and he will be able to, hopefully, in theory, guide Will into understanding enough about this new killer in order to hunt him down and stop him from any subsequent crimes. So I won't give much more away. There is some interesting backstory here that I will actually put a link below just because it's a really fun side note. So Harris, when he wrote this book, he said he based the serial killer off of an actual Mexican serial killer, plus a couple others. It's not an exact match. However, the serial killer was Alfredo Bali Trevino, and this serial killer was also a physician and a very educated and very interesting man. At first, when he encountered him, Harris was working as a journalist and he was down interviewing somebody else for a crime down in a prison in Mexico. And he didn't even realize that this man who was speaking with him was actually one of the other convicts, and of course was a serial killer. So he took a lot of his inspiration for Hannibal from that man. So I'll leave the link below just because it's super interesting to read a bit more about that man in particular. Also, just as a point of note, of course, Will Graham is going to come into a bit of complication from a journalist on the side by the name of Freddie Lounds, who, if you've seen the TV show, you know that Freddie is also a dominant character. She makes the appearance as a female in the TV show. She was originally a male in the book. Either way, Freddie's a very interesting character as well. So I'll leave that as that and not give away too much more so it won't spoil your encounter with this book. lastly, let's just ask ourselves, is this actually a Gothic book? So the book deals strictly with a moral failing or a secret sin on behalf of a specific character and the consequences that come of that specific failing. So that is in fact very much a horror theme. So there's an interesting trope as well in the book, and I like the way Harris presented it. It's either something of a trope of madness on behalf of the criminal in this book, or it is some actual separate spiritual entity, and he really leaves that wide open, and it really is fascinating how he does that. But however, if you look at that trope, you can see that he doesn't utilize it in order to make an intangible theme more tangible. He really uses it primarily as justification or insight into the reasoning within the serial killer's mindset. So that is very consistent with a horror theme. So while it doesn't necessarily make an intangible theme more tangible, it does for sure make the book more frightening. So all that to say, this is a really good one to go pick up if you're looking for a horror read and perhaps haven't seen the TV show Hannibal, or if you have seen it and loved it and you aren't aware of some of the story about Will Graham before Silence of the Lambs, I would highly recommend this one. So that's it for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. That way you'll be posted every time I release a new video. I post videos on Fridays. So until next time, stay undead, my friends.